And Jonathan joins me in studio now alongside IDF Reserve's Brigadier General Yisrael Relik Shafir. Thank you so much both for being with me in studio. Jonathan, just to follow up to your report there, this weekend already, every major American national newspaper, the Wall Street Journal, the Washington Post, and the New York Times have published articles citing anonymous IDF commanders on the state of the war. There is according to the reporting, the IDF does not have as much operational control, military control of as much territory in Gaza as they initially expected to have at this point of the war. Specifically, they thought they would have under their operational control not just the north or Gaza City, they would have Khan Yunis and also the Rafah area, the Rafah crossing city. At this point, both of those center and southern cities are they're still active battle zones as we see. Any idea of an updated timetable or what it means that Hamas is still fighting there? General.
Well, the time span that we're talking about has another variable, which is the number of civilians that will be killed in collateral damage and the number of casualties that the IDF will have. So if the IDF would have no constraints on collateral damage, it could carpet bomb everywhere where there is a chance for a shaft to go down. And if it did not care so much for a soldier's life, it would just drive through, the fatalities would rise. And these are two things that are in the equation if you have enough time to complete the mission. So if we're talking about the whole of 2024 to complete the mission, that will take place eventually with fewer casualties both on the Palestinian side, the Gazan side, and the IDF side. So the decision is really how much of a throttle to open, talking about those two things. And remember that the more or less directive that was given by President Biden was by January reduce the number of casualties, civilian casualties, that had happened. And also the number of Israeli casualties had dropped to about 1 or 2 a day with an exchange ratio with the terrorists of about 40-1. This is something that we can expect in 2024, that eventually they will run out of hiding space.
Oh, let's bring Studio General. You mentioned before the throttle, how much of a throttle to give the IDF to destroy Hamas, to find them and destroy them. In the north, there was a massive campaign of air power for days, even weeks before ground troops went in. I believe a military phrase would be softening of the targets here to allow, to try and reduce Israeli casualties when the ground forces went in building by building. Huge operation from the air. We see less of that now in the center and in the south. That's obviously where the civilians have been displaced. Over 1 million families moved to the south. Because of that complexity now and the density, does there need to be a resumption of massive displays of air power in order to make it more likely that Israel can quickly achieve that goal of taking over these territories, these areas inside Gaza?
It can be done. It is possible. But look at the cost. The cost will be almost indiscriminate deaths of innocent Gazans. And loss of support from the United States and the European community by kind of trespassing the threshold of what is a normal warfare. Right now, we have an exchange of about 1 to 1.5 of terrorists per civilians killed. That is about 9,000 terrorists and about 16,000 civilians. If we go along with this notion, the numbers will climb very quickly, and we will most probably or even surely lose the support of the Western world and the Israeli public itself, which is also wary of casualties on both sides.
Yeah.
So I think that is not in the cards, and we will have to sustain that long and arduous 1 year more or less of an inching towards the target, which is eliminating Hamas as a firepower. It'll be costly in the sense of the length of time, but less casualties, both certainly on the Gazan side and on our side, obviously, that would also take a toll. But we have to live with this because this is the face of war, and there's really not much of an alternative in that sense.
Back here in studio, General, there is no answer, no easy answer for what to tell these Israelis who are basically internally displaced people in their own country. There is a security zone, not in southern Lebanon, but well within Israel's borders. Does the IDF need to step up its attacks? Does it need to have a more aggressive air campaign? May it require, do you think, boots on the ground even?
Obviously, there's no good answer. The question is there a good enough answer? One, for instance, an aerial campaign that will push the Hezbollah forces north to the Litani area and incessantly take out their positions and any of those who loiter around the border area for an indefinite time, so that they won't be able to get anywhere close, won't be able to fire direct fire at Israeli villages, etc. If this is done with enough wisdom, then Hezbollah will not have a reason to fire rockets beyond, or at least direct rockets. They won't be able to, and they will push them. Also, if they hit Israeli towns, it gives a good enough reason to bomb targets of Hezbollah in the Bekaa Valley, which is far beyond the Litani River. So inching across and pushing Hezbollah without a major move that will spur a total war is maybe of a good enough answer in the long run. In the short run, there is really no resolution of this one.
Jonathan Regev, General, thank you so much for being with us. General Israel Shafir for his analysis as well.